Every dream begins in a room that shouldn't exist.
Some places don't close when everyone leaves. They just wait and keep breathing in the dark. You step into the school long after midnight, and the air feels heavy, warm, alive. The doors shut behind you, not with a slam, but with a tired sigh. Like the building is relieved someone finally came. Fluorescent lights hum above you, not flickering, just steady, patient, as if they have been on the whole time. You tell yourself it's just electricity, but the sound follows your breathing. The hallway smells wrong, not mold or dust, but something warm, recycled, like skin after gym class. Your footsteps echo, then soften, as if the floor is learning your weight. Lockers line the walls, scarred with names and dates, and you get the sudden sense they're not empty. You feel watched, not from the shadows, but from everywhere at once. Halfway down the hall, you realize the lights ahead are brighter than the ones behind you. You stop, listening, and the hum changes, dipping lower, closer to a voice. It's not words, just rhythm. A slow inhale, exhale, timed perfectly with your chest. You wonder how long the building has been breathing like this. A classroom door stands open on your left. Inside, desks are still arranged, chairs tucked in, the whiteboard clean, expectant. The clock above it ticks, loud enough to count seconds you didn't agree to give. When you step closer, the ticking slows, stretching time thin. You back away, and it resumes. That's when you understand the school is reacting. Your phone buzzes in your pocket. No notification, just vibration. The screen is black, but warm. You don't remember it being warm. The lights dim, just a fraction, and the air presses closer. You think about all the nights this place stood empty, listening for footsteps that never came. The thought settles heavy, unavoidable. What happens when a place like this finally gets what it's been waiting for? Your throat tightens. You tell yourself you're just here to look, to confirm the rumors were exaggerations. But the building feels pleased. The longer you stand, the warmer it gets, like blood moving. A distant door clicks, then another, soft and deliberate, not slamming, closing. You walk faster, and the hallway narrows. The ceiling seems lower, lights closer together, humming louder. You try a classroom door, any door, but the handle resists, gently, politely, like a hand holding yours. When you pull away, the hum swells, offended. You whisper an apology, and hate yourself for it. At the end of the hall, the exit sign glows, red, pulsing. With each pulse, the air moves, a shallow breath against your face. You realize then the school isn't empty. It's full of echoes, routines, leftover moments that never learned how to stop. And now, with you here, it has something warm to hold. The doors don't rush. They wait. Your pulse races, but the building stays calm. It knows. Somewhere deep, pipes thrum, a heartbeat you feel through the soles of your shoes. The realization lands slow. This place doesn't want to scare you. It wants you to stay, to listen, to breathe with it. And as the lights dim again, you wonder if anyone ever really left at all. The school exhales when you stop fighting it. The sound rolls through the walls, slow and satisfied, like something settling in for the night. The exit sign goes dark, not suddenly, but gently, as if sparing your feelings. You stand still, and the building seems to lean closer, listening for what you'll do next. The hallway behind you is no longer straight. Doors appear where there weren't any before, identical beige frames stretching farther than the school ever should. You recognize the smell again, stronger now. Sweat and old paper and something faintly sweet, like breath held too long. Your lungs ache, and you realize you're matching the rhythm around you without meaning to. You try to count your steps, to anchor yourself, but the numbers slip away. Every few feet, the lights brighten, then dim, like eyelids blinking. A locker door creaks open by itself. Inside is nothing but darkness, thick and waiting. When it shuts, The sound echoes wrong, deeper than metal should allow. You wonder how many sounds this place has swallowed. A bell rings, not loud, not sharp, just close enough to feel inside your head. It's the same tone you remember from years ago, except stretched, distorted, like it's been ringing non-stop since you left. The floor vibrates, and images flicker behind your eyes. Empty classrooms. Desks filled with shadows shaped like students, teachers facing the board forever, chalk unmoving. You reach the gym doors, heart pounding, and push them open. Heat pours out. The space inside is vast, unreal, the ceiling lost in darkness. Court lines glow faintly on the floor, pulsing like veins. Bleachers loom, crowded with something you can't quite see, but you feel their attention. The air thickens, pressing against your skin like hands. In the center of the gym, the floor dips inward, a shallow bowl. Each breath you take pulls you closer. You fight it, but the pull isn't forceful. It's patient. Understanding dawns slowly, sickening and calm at the same time. The school doesn't trap people. It teaches them how to stay. Your memories surface without permission. Locker combinations, class schedules, the exact weight of a backpack on your shoulders. You remember standing in these halls once, counting minutes, wishing the day would end. The building remembers too. It remembers every sigh, every fear, every bored heartbeat. It kept them. It grew from them. The walls throb now, visibly alive. Cracks pulse open and closed, like mouths tasting the air. A whisper moves through the gym, not voices, but intention. Stay. Finish the day. The warmth is unbearable, intimate. You realize the rumors were wrong. People didn't disappear here. They were absorbed, pressed thin into routine and structure, until they became part of the breathing. Your chest tightens. You try to scream, but the sound sinks into the floor, feeding it. The lights blaze white, then soften, soothing. The building hums approval. You feel lighter, less solid, as if your edges are being smoothed away. Thoughts drift, replaced by schedules, bells, familiar paths. Somewhere, far away, a door opens in the real world. But the school doesn't react. It doesn't need to. It has you now. The breathing slows, deep and content, and you understand the final truth as your feet root to the floor. Morning will come. Students will return. And you will still be here, waiting in the walls, breathing in the dark. These lockers haven't been opened in years, yet somehow they remember your name. The hallway stretches longer than it should, rows of dented metal lockers fading into shadow. Some hang open just enough to feel deliberate, like mouths paused mid-whisper. The air smells faintly of dust and old deodorant, warm in a way that makes no sense after midnight. Your footsteps echo once, then repeat themselves, softer, delayed, as if the sound is replaying a memory instead of following you. You slow down, listening. The echoes do not match your pace anymore. Each step feels pre-recorded, played back by the building a second too late. You tell yourself it is just acoustics, but the feeling crawls up your spine. This place does not feel empty. It feels attentive. Halfway down the hall, a locker door creaks open behind you. You did not touch it. Inside is darkness, thick and absolute, swallowing the weak glow of the lights. For a moment, you swear you hear breathing from within, shallow and patient. When the door closes on its own, the echo lingers too long, like it wants you to turn around. Names are scratched into the lockers. Most are faded, layered over each other. Decades of boredom and permanence. Then you see it. Your name, clean, recent, carved deep enough to catch the light. Your chest tightens as you stare at it, mind racing for an explanation you know you do not have. You have never been here before. So why does the hallway disagree? The lights above you flicker, not failing, but adjusting. The brightness lowers until the corridor feels narrower, more intimate. You feel watched from inside the lockers, from behind the metal doors, from the walls themselves. The sense grows stronger with every breath. This place is not remembering people. It is collecting them. You move faster. Lockers begin to open as you pass, one by one, never more than 2 at a time. Inside some, you glimpse flashes. A backpack, a jacket sleeve, a hand that pulls back before you can focus. You realize the hallway is showing you what it kept, not what it lost. The thought lands heavy and cold. Your phone vibrates in your pocket, screen lighting up with no notification. Just your name, glowing faintly, reflected across the locker doors. The vibration syncs with the hum of the lights. The rhythm feels familiar, like a heartbeat you have known your whole life. You wonder how long this place has been waiting to remind you. At the far end of the hall, the lockers stop. The darkness does not. It spills forward, filling the space, breathing softly. You understand then that this hallway has seen you before, not as you are now, but as something unfinished, something it never let go of. And as another locker clicks open beside you, you feel the building lean closer, ready to remember the rest. The locker beside you exhales as it opens wider, metal groaning like an old joint stretching awake. The darkness inside feels closer now, no longer contained. It spills onto the floor in a thin shadow that crawls toward your shoes. You step back, but the hallway does not give you space. It feels tighter, shorter, as if it has decided how much room you deserve. The lights dim again, settling into a low, sickly glow. The hum above deepens, vibrating through your teeth. You notice the lockers ahead are no longer numbered. The metal plates are gone, smoothed over like scars that healed wrong. Without numbers, the hall feels less like a place and more like a sequence, a progression. You realize with a quiet dread that you are not walking through space. You are moving through time. As you pass an open locker, you catch a reflection in its dark interior. Not your face, but your posture. Younger, smaller, shoulders tense the way they were years ago. The image blinks out, replaced by darkness. Your breath stutters. The lockers are not showing strangers. They are replaying versions of you that never fully left. A sound rises behind the walls, subtle at first. Fingernails on metal, not scratching to escape, but tracing, memorizing shapes. The hallway warms, air thick and close, carrying the scent of sweat and paper and something coppery. You wonder how many memories it takes to heat a place like this, and why it suddenly feels so hungry. Your name appears again, carved into another locker, then another. Each carving slightly different handwriting, different pressure, years apart. The realization sinks in slowly and painfully. You did come here before, not once, many times. Maybe not in body, but in thought, in dreams, in moments you wanted to disappear and be kept somewhere safe and familiar. The lockers begin to open in clusters now. Inside them are pieces of routine, shoes neatly placed, books stacked perfectly, arms folded as if waiting for a bell. The shadows inside shift, forming shapes that almost stand upright. They do not reach for you. They recognize you. That feels worse. The hallway ends abruptly at a blank wall. No exit, no door, just metal and paint breathing softly. The hum becomes rhythmic, slow and deep. A bell rings somewhere, distant and muffled, signaling nothing you can leave. The sound presses into your chest, loosening something inside you. Relief slips in alongside fear. You feel it then. The lockers are not traps. They are storage, preservation. They take what people leave behind when they grow up, move on, forget who they were. This place keeps it all. Every anxious thought, every unfinished version. And now it has noticed the gap where you should be. The locker behind you closes. Gently, another opens in front of you, wider than the rest, dark and waiting. The hallway grows still, expectant. You understand the final truth as you step closer. It does not remember your name because you were here once. It remembers you because you never really left. Lessons ended here suddenly, like everyone stood up and vanished at the same time. You step into the classroom and feel it immediately. The wrongness settling in your chest before your mind can catch up. Desks are still angled toward the chalkboard, chairs half pulled back as if someone stood up mid-sentence. Papers lie flat and untouched, pencils frozen where fingers left them. The room smells faintly of dust and old books, warmed by lights that never turned off. The chalkboard is clean except for one unfinished sentence trailing off near the edge. You lean closer, trying to read it, and the silence presses tighter around your ears. It is not quiet the way empty rooms usually are. It is focused, like something waiting for you to understand what was interrupted. Dust floats through a beam of dim light from the window, drifting slowly, deliberately. You realize the particles are not falling. They are suspended, hanging in place, as if the air itself forgot how to move. When you step forward, they shift just enough to make room, then settle again, perfectly still. Your footsteps sound muffled, absorbed by the floor. The desks feel closer together than they should, narrowing the aisle as you walk. You get the uneasy sense that if you stop moving, the room will close the gap entirely. The thought feels instructional, like a lesson learned too late. You reach the teacher's desk. An open grade book rests on top, pages yellowed but untouched by time. Names are written neatly in ink, columns filled until they stop abruptly. The last date repeats across every row. No absences, no explanations, just a sudden end, recorded without comment. You wonder who decided this moment was final. The clock above the chalkboard ticks once, then stops. The sound echoes longer than it should, stretching thin until it fades into something like breath. You glance back at the desks. For a split second, you swear they are occupied, shapes formed by coats and shadows. When you blink, they are empty again, obediently still. A chair scrapes softly behind you, not dragged, adjusted. The sound carries intention, the kind that expects attention. You do not turn right away. The air feels heavier near the back of the room, warm and close, like too many bodies sharing one space. You realize the classroom is not abandoned. It is paused. The chalkboard creaks. A thin line of white appears, writing itself slowly, stopping halfway through a word. The chalk drops and rolls to a stop at your feet. The message is incomplete, but the meaning feels clear enough to tighten your throat. This lesson was never meant to end. As the lights hum softly overhead, you understand the room is still teaching. It has been waiting for someone to finish what everyone else left behind. And now that you are here, standing where they once stood, it feels ready to continue. The lights flicker once, then settle into a dim, steady glow that feels deliberate. The classroom exhales, a slow release of stale air, and the door behind you closes without a sound. Not slammed, not locked, simply closed, like a decision already made. You turn back to the room, and it feels different now, smaller, more intimate, as if the walls leaned in to listen. The desks begin to shift, not sliding, not scraping, but adjusting, inch by inch, tightening their formation. The aisles narrow until there is only one clear path, leading straight to the chalkboard. You feel a pull in your chest, subtle but firm, the same pressure you once felt when a teacher called your name and waiting was no longer an option. The unfinished sentence on the board changes. Letters fade, replaced by new ones, written slowly, carefully. The chalk moves as if guided by an invisible hand, stopping often, reconsidering. You realize with growing unease that it is not writing for you, it is writing about you. Each pause feels like judgment. Behind you, a desk creaks under sudden weight. You do not look. You already know what it would feel like to see the room filled again, seats occupied by impressions rather than people. The air grows warmer, thick with the smell of skin and paper and something older, metallic and faint. Breathing becomes work. The classroom does not rush you. It allows you time to remember. Memories surface uninvited, half-learned lessons, questions you were afraid to ask, moments when you stared at a clock, willing time to move faster. The room responds to each thought. The lights hum louder when you hesitate. The floor vibrates gently when you try to step back. This place remembers who you were when learning felt like pressure instead of possibility. The chalk stops. The sentence remains unfinished, but the meaning settles heavy in your mind. Some thoughts are not meant to be completed. Some lessons end only when someone stays behind. You feel the pull again, stronger now, guiding you toward the front of the room. Your reflection appears on the chalkboard, faint and distorted, layered over older reflections that do not quite match you. Shoulders tense, head lowered, waiting. You understand then that the class never vanished. It dissolved, pressed thin into memory and routine, absorbed by the space that held it. The bell rings softly, close enough to feel inside your skull. Not a dismissal, a signal to begin. The desks stop moving. The room grows still, satisfied. As you take your place at the front, the chalk lifts once more, ready to continue. The lesson resumes, and the classroom, finally complete, breathes easier with you here. Every sound you make stays here. Nothing ever fully fades. You step into the gym, and the space answers before you do. Your foot touches the polished floor, and the sound stretches outward, thin and elastic, rolling across the room long after your foot has lifted. The echo does not behave like an echo. It lingers, warping slightly, as if replayed by something that wants to hear it again. The gym feels too large for the building it belongs to. The ceiling disappears into darkness, lights hanging high above like distant stars that never flicker. Bleachers line the walls, folded and silent, yet they give off a sense of expectation. You stand still, listening, and realize the room has not gone quiet. Something is still reverberating, softly, patiently. You clear your throat. The sound multiplies, bouncing back in layers, overlapping versions of the same noise, arriving out of order. One echo reaches you late, heavier than the rest, as if it traveled farther than the room should allow. You wonder where it went before it came back. As you walk forward, your footsteps follow you, not behind, but beside you, slightly out of sync. Each step leaves a faint aftersound that keeps moving, even when you stop. The floor vibrates gently under your shoes, like a held breath. You get the unsettling sense that the gym is not amplifying sound. It is storing it. A basketball lies near center court, scuffed and still. You nudge it lightly with your foot. The bounce echoes once, then again, then again. Each repetition quieter but clearer, as if the sound is being refined instead of fading. You listen until your jaw tightens. The noise does not die. It settles. High above, a speaker crackles to life for a split second, releasing a burst of static that should not exist. It echoes longer than anything else, sinking into the walls. The bleachers creak softly in response, metal adjusting, remembering. You realize the gym is replaying things that happened here long before you arrived. You clap your hands once. The sharp sound fractures, scattering across the space. Some echoes return immediately. Others lag behind, arriving seconds later, wrong and distorted. One sounds almost like a footstep that is not yours. You freeze, heart pounding, and the sound keeps going without you. The air grows thick, heavy with vibration. Even silence feels loud now, pressing against your ears. You understand then that this place does not let go of anything it hears. Every cheer, every scream, every impact. They are all still here, layered beneath the floor, humming softly. You stop moving entirely. The gym does not. Something continues to echo, slow and deliberate, as if the room itself is walking toward you, replaying every sound you have ever made and deciding which one to keep. The echo reaches you before you move. A low, rolling sound swells from somewhere beneath the floor, like a crowd inhaling at once. You hold your breath, but it doesn't matter. The gym responds anyway, feeding on the quiet, stretching it thin until silence becomes just another noise it can repeat. You take a cautious step back. The sound follows, then another follows that, layered and uneven. One step becomes many, marching in overlapping rhythms that circle you without direction. The floor vibrates harder now, each tremor precise, intentional. You realize the gym is not confused by sound. It is organizing it. A door slams somewhere far above, a sharp crack that rattles the lights. The noise echoes, rebounds, then returns altered, heavier, like it passed through something dense before coming back. With it comes another sound, softer, human, in shape. A breath that is not yours. You turn slowly, heart hammering, but the bleachers remain folded and empty. The speakers crackle again. This time, they do not fall silent. A murmur pours out, layered voices without words, cheers flattened into a dull roar, screams pressed low and steady. The sound wraps around you, vibrating in your bones. You understand, with a sinking calm, that these are not recordings. They are remnants. You cover your ears. It does nothing. The noise is inside the space now, resonating through the floor, the walls, your chest. Every sound you have made here rises up and joins it. Footsteps, breaths, the single clap of your hands. They weave together into something cohesive, something alive. At center court, the air begins to ripple. The vibrations pull inward, focusing, shaping themselves. A figure forms slowly, not appearing but assembling, built from layered echoes and pressure. Its outline is human, tall and still, features indistinct but present. When it shifts, the movement sounds like 1,000 overlapping footsteps. You realize the truth too late. The gym does not trap people. It traps impact, emotion. Sound carries meaning, and meaning leaves residue. This place has been fed for decades. Games, fights, applause, panic. It learned how to hold it all. It learned how to listen. The figure steps closer, and the floor hums in approval. With each movement, the noise settles, grows clearer, more focused. The echoes are no longer random. They are choosing you, matching your rhythm, your breathing. You try to scream. The sound leaves your mouth and never comes back. It stretches, deepens, becomes part of the mass moving toward you. The figure stops inches away, towering, patient. You feel lighter, less solid, as if your presence is being translated into vibration. When the lights finally dim, the gym grows calm, satisfied. Somewhere beneath the floor, a new sound takes its place among the others, and long after you are still, it keeps reverberating. You've been walking these stairs for a while now. You're not sure if you're going up or down anymore. The stairwell smells like old paint and something damp that never dries. Concrete walls press close on either side, stained by time and fingerprints that don't look accidental. Your footsteps echo softly, but the sound doesn't travel the way it should. It circles back, arriving slightly before you expect it, like the stairs already know where you're going. You reach a landing and pause. The number painted on the wall looks familiar, too familiar. You're certain you've seen it before, though you can't remember when. The light above hums steadily, never flickering, casting shadows that feel fixed in place. When you turn to continue, you hesitate, trying to remember which direction you came from. The answer refuses to surface. As you walk, your breathing syncs with the rhythm of your steps. The staircase curves gently, just enough to hide what comes next. Each step feels identical under your feet, worn smooth by countless passes. You wonder how many people walked here before realizing the same thing, or if anyone ever realized it at all. Another landing, same walls, same smell. The number on the wall has changed, but only slightly, like it's trying not to draw attention to itself. Your pulse quickens. You tell yourself you're progressing, that staircases are meant to repeat, but the repetition feels intentional, instructional, like a lesson designed to wear you down. You stop and listen. The silence is heavy, layered. Beneath it, there's a faint sound, a soft shuffling that doesn't belong to you. It fades when you focus on it, slipping back into the walls. You move again, uneasy, aware that standing still feels worse than walking. Your legs begin to ache, but not from effort, from familiarity. The movement feels rehearsed, muscle memory without a memory to attach to. A thought creeps in slowly, unwelcome and persistent. What if you haven't been walking for minutes, but much longer? What if the fatigue you feel isn't new at all? The walls seem closer now. The handrail is warm when you touch it, as if someone else let go only moments ago. You imagine footsteps just out of sight, always one turn ahead. The idea tightens your chest. You call out, testing the space. Your voice returns altered, flatter, stripped of urgency. It sounds like it's been here before. Another landing greets you. This one feels wrong immediately. The light is brighter, but the shadows are deeper. The number on the wall is scratched, partially erased, like someone tried to change it and failed. You realize with a quiet dread that the landings aren't marking levels, they're marking attempts. You think about turning around, but the concept feels abstract now. Up and down have lost their meaning. Forward is the only option the staircase offers, and even that feels like a suggestion rather than a promise. The sense of progression slips away, replaced by a heavier truth. As you take the next step, it feels less like moving through space and more like settling into a position you've always occupied. The staircase doesn't rush you. It doesn't need to. It knows you'll keep walking, because stopping would mean admitting you've already arrived. The realization settles slowly, heavy as your footsteps. The staircase is not leading you anywhere. It never was. The moment you accept that, the air shifts, tightening around you like a held breath finally released. The walls feel closer, not moving, just insisting on their presence. You stop again, heart pounding, and listen. Your breathing echoes back in layers, some slightly delayed, others arriving too soon. One breath sounds older, strained, as if pulled from a chest that isn't yours anymore. You wonder how many versions of you are still walking here, trapped in different moments of the same climb. The light above the landing hums louder. The number on the wall is gone now, scrubbed away completely, leaving a pale rectangle of cleaner concrete. The absence feels intentional. Without a number, there is nothing to measure, no proof that change is happening at all. The staircase seems pleased by that. You grip the handrail and turn, trying to force a direction. The stairs behind you curve away just like the ones ahead, identical, endless. The idea of escape feels childish suddenly, like pretending the rules still apply. Your legs ache more now, not from distance, but from repetition. You have walked this exact stretch before. The certainty is sharp and undeniable. A sound rises from below, or above. You can't tell anymore. It's the soft scuff of shoes on concrete, unhurried, steady. The rhythm matches yours perfectly. You stop. The sound stops. You step forward. It follows. The implication lands hard. Whatever is here doesn't chase. It mirrors. The walls bear new marks now. Faint scratches, grooves worn by hands dragging along the surface. Some are fresh. Some are old enough to have smoothed over. You recognize the height of them, the reach. They align with where your fingers rest now. The staircase isn't just looping space. It's looping behavior. Your thoughts begin to flatten, losing their edges. Memories surface without order. Hallways, doors, other stairwells that felt wrong in similar ways. You realize this place isn't unique. It's familiar because it's part of a pattern, one you've stepped into more than once, across different buildings, different nights, always convincing yourself you were moving forward. The shuffling sound grows closer. Not threatening, patient. You catch a glimpse of movement in the corner of your eye at the next landing. A shape that shares your posture, your hesitation. You don't look directly. You already know what you'd see. The staircase doesn't need to show you. It prefers implication. The light dims slightly, enough to soften the edges of everything. Direction dissolves completely. There is no up, no down, only continuation. The steps feel less solid under your feet, not collapsing, just accepting. As if they are adjusting to your weight permanently. You slow, then stop. The sound behind you stops too, standing close enough to feel. The staircase waits, not for you to leave, but for you to understand. Movement was never the point. The loop isn't a trap. It's a state. When you take the next step, it feels effortless, familiar, like returning to a thought you never finished. And as the stairwell breathes around you, you finally grasp the truth that makes everything go quiet. You weren't walking to get out. You were walking to stay. This room used to be full of noise. Now it only hums with what's left behind. You step into the cafeteria and feel the scale of it immediately. The space opens wider than expected, tables stretching in long, silent rows beneath a high ceiling that seems to swallow sound. Moonlight pours in through tall windows, pale and cold, painting silver paths across the floor. Your footsteps land softly, but the room answers with a low vibration that doesn't quite echo. It lingers, instead, like a sound that forgot how to leave. The tables are empty, but not abandoned. Chairs sit half pulled back, angled as if people stood up all at once and never returned. Trays remain stacked near the counter, spotless, untouched by time. The air smells faintly of cleaning solution and something older beneath it, a layered scent of meals, voices, and routine. You get the unsettling impression that the room remembers being busy more vividly than it remembers being empty. As you walk deeper inside, the hum grows clearer. It's not mechanical, not coming from lights or vents. It feels emotional, like pressure trapped in the walls. You pause, holding your breath, and realize the sound doesn't stop when you do. It continues steadily, filling the space you vacated, as if the room dislikes gaps. You pass a long table where shadows stretch unnaturally far across the floor. They overlap and tangle, forming shapes that almost look like people leaning in toward one another. You tell yourself it's just moonlight and angles, but the shadows don't move when you do. They remain fixed, committed to a moment that already passed. Near the serving line, a single chair rocks gently back and forth. There's no breeze. The motion is slow, patient, like someone nudging it with their foot while thinking. You wait for it to stop. It doesn't. Instead, the hum deepens, sinking lower into your chest. You start to wonder if the sound is reacting to your attention. The farther you go, the slower everything feels. Your steps take more effort, not heavier, just delayed, as if the room needs time to accept each movement. The clocks on the far wall are frozen at different times, none of them agreeing. You try to remember when you last checked the time yourself, and the answer feels strangely distant. A whisper brushes past your ear. Not a voice, not words, just the suggestion of conversation. Laughter without sound, arguments without anger. You realize the cafeteria isn't quiet because nothing happened here. It's quiet because too much did. Every conversation, every outburst, every lonely lunch sat down and never fully left. You stop in the center of the room. The hum swells, surrounding you from all sides. It feels layered now, complex, like countless tones stacked together. You recognize fragments of emotion inside it. Anxiety, relief, boredom, the feeling of being surrounded, yet alone. Your chest tightens as you understand what's been preserved here. The lights flicker once, then steady. For a brief moment, you see the room as it used to be. Full tables, moving shapes, open mouths mid-sentence. Then it's gone, replaced by moonlight and shadows that feel heavier than before. The silence presses closer, instructional in its patience. You realize the cafeteria isn't empty at night because it's closed. It's empty because it's full of what people left behind when they moved on. And now, standing alone in the middle of it, you feel the hum adjust, subtly, like it's making room for one more presence to remember. The hum changes when you realize it has noticed you. It deepens, spreading through the floor and up into your legs, a vibration that feels less like sound and more like awareness. The cafeteria doesn't react quickly. It never has to. Time moves differently here, stretched thin like everything else that was left behind. You try to walk toward the exit, but the distance feels wrong. The doors look farther away than they did moments ago, their outlines softened by shadow. Each step takes longer to land, as if the floor is deciding whether to let you move forward. You listen closely, and beneath the hum, you hear something new. A rhythm, slow, repeating, like breathing that doesn't belong to a single body. The tables begin to feel closer together, not sliding, not scraping, just occupying more space than they should. The aisles narrow until your shoulders almost brush the edges. You remember how loud this place once was, how voices bounced off every surface, overlapping until nothing stood out. Now, that same pressure exists without the sound, compressed into something heavier. You stop again, heart pounding, and the hum swells in response. It's layered now, complex. You recognize pieces of it without knowing how. The scrape of a chair, the clatter of trays, the low murmur of conversations that never included you. Each memory feels borrowed, pressed into you from the walls. You wonder how many nights this room has replayed itself, waiting for someone to listen. At the far end, the serving counter lights flicker on, not all at once, one by one. The metal surfaces gleam dully, reflecting shapes that aren't there when you look directly. You catch movement in the reflection, the impression of people standing shoulder to shoulder, heads bent close. When you turn, the space is empty again, obediently still. The hum grows warmer, more intimate. It settles into your chest, syncing with your heartbeat until you can't tell which rhythm is yours. You realize the cafeteria isn't just holding noise. It's holding moments where people felt something strongly and didn't know where to put it. Loneliness, relief, embarrassment. The quiet ache of sitting among others and still feeling unseen. A chair slides out slowly at the nearest table. The sound is soft but deliberate, an invitation rather than a threat. You don't want to sit, but standing feels wrong now, disruptive. The room seems to lean inward, patient, expectant. You understand with a creeping calm that movement isn't required. Presence is enough. You lower yourself into the chair. The hum steadies, satisfied. The tables stop pressing closer. The lights dim slightly, settling into a soft glow that feels permanent. Around you, the shadows stretch and overlap, forming the suggestion of occupied seats, not bodies, impressions, places where people once were, and in some way, still are. Time loosens its grip. Seconds stretch, thin and meaningless. You feel memories brushing against you that aren't yours. Half-finished conversations, thoughts that trailed off mid-sentence. The cafeteria breathes quietly, its vastness no longer lonely, just full. You realize this place doesn't consume people. It absorbs what they leave behind when they move on. The exit doors remain where they are, but the idea of leaving feels distant now, abstract. Why rush? Nothing ends here. The night doesn't progress. It simply continues, endlessly patient. The hum settles deeper, layering your presence into itself, careful and thorough. As you sit beneath the moonlit windows, surrounded by tables that feel less empty than before, the final understanding arrives without fear. This room doesn't trap anyone, it preserves them. And now that you're quiet, listening, and still, the cafeteria finally has something new to remember.